Welcome, everyone. Today, I have the honor of introducing you to my beloved LindaRose. She is a beloved medicine woman, healer, elder, and friend. And today, we're going to drum for you, and then I'm going to ask her a few questions just to get to know her, introduce her to all the people who join me here today.
Do you want to do something about the lighting?
That's
Okay.
it's recording. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Okay. So, for those who've been following me or who know me, part of my journey was very dark, and I didn't really have much community to fall back on to understand my connection with spirit. And LindaRose was not afraid of me. So, it's my honor to sit here and introduce her to everybody. She was my lifeline, and one of the reasons I can actually be present on earth at this time. And I owe so much gratitude to you, and I adore you. We're sitting on this beautiful, beautiful land, LindaRose's beloved land, where we come and we heal and we do ceremony and we share in circle and meals and sweat lodge and all types of
Drumming.
healing practices, drumming, yes. So, and LindaRose, meet LindaRose.
Hello, I'm LindaRose. I am a medicine woman and healer and a teacher. I've been doing this work for a long time now because I'm a little older. I've had time to practice. So I do this work from my home in Toronto. I've traveled extensively around Ontario doing many different presentations and so on over the years. I was a vendor at the St. Lawrence Market, bringing wild herbs from this land and other land for many years. And I've lived in community in a large co-op in Toronto for more than 30 years. And it's been a very special place for me. It is a very special place. So is this land. We've been here for a week now. It's kind of our annual retreat. So there's just a few of us here right now because we were the few who really needed the retreat. So we have taken the time.
So, LindaRose, tell us how did this path begin with you? How did this path of becoming a medicine woman start on your journey?
Well, I got sick.
Okay.
I was diagnosed with cancer, and I basically had surgery a day after the day I was told. And I decided at that point that was as the lowest point in my health that I wanted to get to. And since many members of my family also had been dealing with this disease, I took it as a pretty serious warning. So I changed my life. I changed my diet, I changed my exercise pattern, I changed all kinds of things about how I approach my life. I was a single mother at the time, raising two children, two girls, and a lot of things were different. I worked with a husband and wife team of naturopaths for more than, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years, and got myself together. And then basically started my studies, and my studies have included shamanism, cranial sacral body work, and I don't know, all kinds of things. Those two are the, I guess, the main two, but are in many ways the tip of the iceberg.
So, what do you think about the conversations about the prophecy in the world today, about awakening and coming into our power and connecting with the land? What are your thoughts on that, and what have you witnessed?
Well, I've witnessed a change in myself. I think, spending time on this land, I've had this land now for almost 25 years, and we've done a lot of camping here. There was an old cabin that we stayed in for a time, but mostly we've been staying on the land and camping. And it has allowed me to learn things about myself. So I've learned self-reliance, for example. I know how to collect enough kindling to start a fire. I feel that I know a lot of things about are edible or what medicines can be used in the fields around us. So it has helped me to come into an awareness of really being able to look after myself. My focus on health, I think, has done that too. In terms of what's going on now, I think it's crucial for people to be in touch with the wilderness. This is where we learn about the other worlds, the other beings that inhabit the planet with us, whether that be the plants or the animals, the rocks. They're all part of what is alive on Earth here with us humans. I think at this time it's a really crucial change that we need to make on planet Earth. I think we've lost our way. I know the prophecies of this time talk about a great awakening. I think that's underway. I think things are also going to get a lot worse before they get better. And I think what I'm part of here, even with this land, and I think what we've been talking about over this week, is the concept of doing small villages, small gatherings of people on the land that are sustainable over time and that can basically form the basis of rebuilding our culture should things get to that point.
And what would you suggest to your everyday awakener if they don't have the ability to get the land at this time? What do you think are some daily practices to help people get through that chaos period and rediscovering who they are?
I think there are several things. I think you need to look at a body, mind, spirit, emotion healing, and remember that we are soul sexual beings as well. That you need to look at the different aspects of a human or the different parts of yourself in order to be well. I think it's very important that people have a spiritual connection of some kind. I think it's very important that people learn to train their mind so that their mind is not running away with their thoughts and that they are aware of what thoughts they are thinking so that they can determine adequately with their mind and make good decisions. I think it's crucial that you look after your physical self, both through good food and holistic way of living and some form of body work, whether or even a practice like yoga. I guess body work would be one thing, or some form of holistic healing, but a practice is really important, whether that be yoga or qigong or whatever your preference is. I think some kind of practice on a daily basis is important. I think it's really important that you work with your breath, that you are aware of your breath and know where it goes in your body and how things work. And I also think that it's time for all of us to be acknowledging our emotional side. And if things are not in a good way of balance there for you, then you need to find yourself some support with that.
Would you be able to show us a really easy daily breath work technique to get yourself out of maybe a moment of anxiety or
Sure. The basic one that I've been taught in the teachings, I have teachings, although I have a heritage that goes back to a shaman a very long time ago, going back through the Viking world. That kind of heritage and that kind of interest has drawn me to the Métis Medicine Society, the Twisted Hair, who are a combination of elders and people from the zero chiefs of Latin America, South America, and North America, who have come together to basically relate the old teachings to a new group of students and people who are potentially followers or potentially part of that grouping of people that we need to be able to make this change. So this teaching is called Finding Your One Point, and it's a basic breathing technique. And basically, some of you might know it as a singer's breath. So what you're wanting to do is you want to breathe in through the nose. You want to push your belly out. You want to breathe out through the mouth and bring your belly back to the spine. And you want to do that with a bit of force, a bit of emphasis. So and then after you've done a few breaths, you should find your balance, your breath, and your awareness is more in your belly. And you do a few other slow breaths in the same way with the breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. But you begin to slow it down and you let the breath softly go down your legs so that you find yourself to be grounded. So that breath takes a little practice, but it's something that's easy to do, and I highly recommend it to everyone.
Thank you. I'm curious about your thoughts about farming and animals and how that would impact lightworkers today, and your opinion of that, and how to eat sustainable livestock.
Oh, that's a really big subject, and not easy to resolve in our world. I think, although I think people are returning to the land, and we see, more small farms with young people and market gardens and that kind of thing. I think we still grow a very small percentage of our own food here in Ontario. Let's just talk about Ontario. And I think that's problematic. If it takes, if we only have enough food in the city of Toronto to feed people for 3 days, we can have an ice storm that can put us out of commission for 3 days. That's not difficult. So I think it is important to be developing our farmland, to be developing it quite differently. We know how to do sustainable, holistic, biodynamic and organic techniques. We do know how. It is possible for us to do that again. It does require some reworking in our farmland and some reconsideration of some of the practices, but it is entirely possible to make our own farmland in Ontario something that makes us sustainable for our own food again.
I love it. Another question I have for you is, what are your thoughts on our contribution to waste management in the environment and
Oh, we have a long way
fast
to
plastic?
go. We have a long way to
What
go.
are some things that you think people can look at their everyday life, in their own family, their own homes?
Stop using packaging. Leave it at the store.
Yeah.
Stop buying things that are 4 layers of packaging. It's ridiculous. I mean, I've grown up in a time where we've gone from taking your own basket to the market to it all being supplied and it all being plastic, and that the entire food store is covered in plastic now. Like, you can't buy a fresh vegetable without it being covered in plastic. It's ridiculous and unnecessary. We know better. There are other ways.
Okay, I have 2 more questions for you. One is, what's your advice to parents who are raising children who are clearly star beings and have gifts?
Find someone you can talk to and support your children. For star beings need to be supported. We need the extra support at this time to fully blossom and come into who they are. And children especially need support when they're different than others might be.
And finally, what's a really cool shamanic experience story to share? Something fun. Let's do some fun storytelling.
The one that really surprised me, I guess, one night, because I was still learning about these things. I was on the land doing ceremony, and I was out on the land, and there was a practice of smoking the pipe with one of the teachers so that they could stay connected to you while you're out on the land. So we did that, and then I went out and I found my place, and I took my tent and my things out, and I stayed there for the night and did the ceremony, and nobody could find me. And I thought that was pretty interesting, but apparently I found a portal and I went through it into another space, which didn't surprise me in some ways because I was beside a waterfall and there are always power places.
What were some teachings you brought back from that ceremony in this portal?
It was the ceremony that I was doing is complicated, but the short version is that I was learning how to handle my own emotions and the parts of my personality that I needed to get under control or didn't want to have run my life anymore.
Okay, amazing. So, do you want to drum again?
Sure.
Let's drum again. I'll just be the background.
Okay.
Okay, so it was my honor to introduce you to LindaRose, a really experienced, deeply compassionate, deep knowledge over many timelines and many realities as a shamanic medicine person here on Earth, and a specialist in PTSD, and as well as recovering from different traumas, which I guess is PTSD. So Linda offers classes. I'm going to leave her website and or how to contact her in the comments. Also, between now and Christmas, we're going to be doing a series of about 9 videos that are going to talk about how to use your medicine wheel within yourself so that you can divine a compass for being on Earth at this time. And an incredible study and teaching from LindaRose that she's adapted from studying medicine wheels from around the world. And then also we have our wilderness retreats. We're going to make them smaller, we've decided, more intimate. So if this interests you, if you want to do some one-on-one deep wilderness time with us here on the land, just let us know and you can contact us. We'll leave all the information in the comments. Thank you so much for sharing our drumming.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
talking.
Thank you, honey.
You're welcome. It's my honor.
Mine too, honey.